So today I want to talk about the economics of free goods. Why is Google free? Why is Facebook free? Why is Twitter free? Right? These are goods and services which our students use all the time, and yet our economic models don't really speak to this fundamental question. It would be highly unusual if supply and demand just happened to meet at a zero price. That doesn't seem right. And the monopoly model, well, that implies, of course, an even higher price than the competitive model. So that doesn't seem right. So what explains? How can we explain to our students why some of these goods are free? And as you may know, this is really about the economics of platform firms or multi-sided markets. Partly this is work for which Jean Tirole won the Nobel Prize. So we want to kind of try and explain this, of course, though we are clearly under some constraints, right? And I should indicate that this is sort of a test material for the next edition of Modern Principles of Economics. So there are, in this context, the principles class, it's already full of incredibly useful and important information. So we're going to have to limit. We're going to have to use our intuitions. We're going to have to limit our time. And part of the response to this, part of what this means is that we want to teach these ideas using concepts which the students already know. So what I want to try and do today is teach some of the economics of platform firms, that is, show how I teach it in the class, using just basically the concepts of externalities and elasticity. Externality and elasticities. Okay, so what, first of all, is a platform firm? So a platform firm is a firm which brings together two sides of market in order to connect up the sides for mutual gain. Lots and lots of different examples. So the New York Times, Facebook, Google, they're all platform firms. They bring together readers and advertisers. Amazon, buyers and sellers. OkCupid brings together men and women with men and women in whatever combination works. Uber brings together drivers and riders. These are all examples of platform firms. And what's interesting to an economist about these kinds of firms is that a platform firm has got more opportunities for pricing than does an ordinary firm. Right? Is a platform firm, it has a choice. Is it going to price to both sides of the market, or is it going to charge one side of the market more and one side of the market less? So it's the fact that platform firms have to decide on a pricing structure which makes them interesting. And basically, the talk is going to be about is to bring both sides of the market together, to bring them on board, and to maximize transaction value. The platform firm has to create a pricing structure based upon externalities and elasticities. Let's talk about externalities. This is the main example, the primary example in Modern Principles, getting a flu shot. So we all know it has a private benefit and a social benefit, and people, generally speaking, will take into account the private benefit and not the social benefit, and as a result, as we all know, there will be too few flu shots. Okay? Now, even in our chapter on flu shots, however, we mentioned this interesting kind of fact that a flu shot typically costs about $25 to $50, but some firms offer their workers free flu shots. Now, why might a firm, not a benevolent, kind firm, one that loves its workers, not one of those, why might a profit-seeking firm, why might it offer to give its workers free flu shots? Now, of course, there are two benefits here. A worker who gets a free flu shot benefits the firm in two different ways. First of all, the worker, him or herself, is less likely to get sick. And that means that the firm is going to save fewer healthcare costs, fewer lost days at work, and so forth. In addition, a worker who gets a flu shot is less likely to transmit the flu to another worker, again, causing the firm to have all kinds of savings. So let's imagine that the benefit to the firm is worth $10 from the fact that the person gets the flu shot. And let's suppose that the transmission is such that the worker is less likely to transmit the flu shot and that this has an expected benefit one-tenth as much as the direct benefit. So let's say $1 per worker. Finally, let's assume that the firm has got 100 workers. What this means then is that the expected benefit to the firm from offering a free flu shot is $110. So even if the flu shot costs $25, it pays the firm to offer flu shots for free. Another way of putting this is that a worker who gets a flu shot creates an external benefit for every other worker in the firm. Now, in theory, right, we know from the Coase theorem that in theory there is a mutually profitable bargain among the workers. They could all get together and transact and make some deals and side payments and cross payments and so forth so that we would get to the efficient number of flu shots among the workers. But of course, in practice, the bargaining costs are too high, the holdouts are too high, too many holdouts, transactions costs are too high. On the other hand, the firm is already in a position of transacting with all of the workers. So the firm can make these kinds of deals at very low transactions cost. So another way of putting this is that the firm internalizes the externality. The way the guys in the platform firms literature put this, they say that the firm is able to increase its profits by offering free flu shots because it extracts value, the firm extracts value from the other side of the market. It's free to the individual getting the shot, and the firm extracts value from the other side of the market. Now, how big a subsidy should the firm, in fact, offer? We want to compare the benefits of getting an additional worker to get a flu shot with the cost. The benefit is going to depend upon how big that cross-externality is. How much does one worker getting a flu shot, how much does that protect other workers? And how many other workers are there at the firm? There's an interesting prediction here. It's that bigger firms should be more likely to offer free flu shots. And this is not because the big firms have lots of revenues or because, they are better run or something like that. It's because they can internalize the externality. And the way to test that prediction is to look at whether the firm's workers are all in one building. So you have 100 workers all in one building. The theory says the firm will offer free flu shots. You've got 100 workers who are spread out across the country. Same size firm, the firm will not offer the free flu shots. Kind of an interesting prediction. And what about the cost? That is, how large a subsidy does the firm have to give in order to get an additional worker to have a flu shot? That is, are flu shots elastic or inelastic with respect to the price? If the flu shots are elastic, then the firm can just offer a small subsidy and lots of workers will get the shot. If the flu shots are inelastic, people really don't like them, then the firm is going to have to offer a bigger subsidy in order to get more workers to get a flu shot. So the exact pricing structure that maximizes the firm's profits, that's going to depend upon the size of the externality and also the elasticity of flu shot supply. Externalities and elasticities. What does this have to do with Facebook? Well, here is Mark Zuckerberg. This is a post from his Facebook page showing his daughter getting her flu shot. So you can see the connection. Okay, what is the connection? The connection is that seeing ads is like getting a flu shot. Seeing ads is like getting a flu shot. It's a little bit unpleasant for you maybe to see the ad, right? But it generates value for other people, namely the advertisers. So Facebook internalizes this externality through its pricing structure. In other words, Facebook offers its services to consumers for free for the same reasons a firm offers flu shots for free. Because Facebook extracts value from the other side of the market. Now, this pricing structure is going to depend on a complicated way, right, on the elasticities and the externalities. Facebook is free to consumers. It makes all of its revenue on the advertiser side. We see something similar with Visa and other credit card companies. They can even offer a lower than zero price to credit card holders, right? Because sometimes you get insurance benefits, you get cash back. Some credit cards give cash back. They give you frequent flyer miles and so forth, okay? So this actually is a situation in which the price is negative. Right? They make all their money by charging the merchants, the other side of the market. Uber and Airbnb, also examples of platform firms, they take a cut of the transaction value. So Uber and Airbnb are very interested in finding ways of bringing both sides of the market together in order to maximize that transaction value. So make it easy to find the right match, make that match as valuable as possible, because they're going to take a cut. There's also network effects going on. Okay? So in the background, there's network effects. And there's lots of these network effects, right? There are the consumer to supplier externalities. That's the ones we've just been talking about. There can also be supplier to consumer externalities. So you want to go, eBay, something like that, or Amazon, you want to go to the place which has the most suppliers. Or Airbnb, you want to go to the market which has the most housing so that you can find the best match. So these are the cross externalities, right, from the consumer to supplier and from the supplier to the consumer. And the platform is going to internalize these externalities. In addition, there are consumer-to-consumer externalities, which can also influence the pricing structure. People want to be on Facebook because their friends and their family are on Facebook. People want to talk about the same movies. They want to read kind of the same books, right? So there are these consumer-to-consumer externalities. My co-author and I try to use the same software so that we can pass our documents back and forth. If I use Word, it's more valuable if Tyler uses Word. Right? And then finally, there are the supplier-to-supplier externalities and network effects. Right? So there are more people who learn how to program on the Xbox platform. That makes it easier for other firms to come in and also program on the Xbox platform. Right? So there are supplier-to-supplier externalities. And what the platform does is it maximizes profit, taking into account the externalities, the elasticities, and the network effects. Thanks very much.